Okay, so we've got some warm water inside of this big mixing bowl. We got them at about 130 degrees.
It's still measuring.
Anyway, it's warm water.
It needs to be between 100 and 110 degrees
Nice.
Fahrenheit.
So some vaguely hot water and some yeast. So this is, it's in the baking section at any store. It's just easily looked over by us because we don't use it a lot.
It gets stuck to the top, so that's why I'm shaking it.
And then it jumps in and it has a happy time in its warm bath.
Oh, give it some sugar too. Just a little.
So we can eat.
Yep, some food. And give it a stir, and then you let it sit for 15 minutes until it has a lot of bubbles on top.
We can do that. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. What do we got?
So you got a thick foam from all the breathing the yeast has been doing. Now we can start adding flour to it.
Okay.
So this is flour. Got 1, 2, 3 and a half cups of flour. And 2 pinches of salt. Maybe a third. And 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then you get a rice paddle. And you just stir it. And then I'm just using the rice paddle to scrape the flour off the sides and then mix it back into the dough. Now it's not sticky anymore, but it's too sticky. It's too rough for the rice paddle, so now I have to use my hands. And just push with your palm and fold. It should all come together. And then this is a good arm workout.
You beat the hell out of it.
I think this could use a little bit more flour. It's a little too sticky. Just because I know how I want it to feel. But if you put too much flour or too little flour, the dough doesn't notice and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. It's still very tasty.
Yep. I made really good bread with 3 times the flour I was supposed to put in. And we still ate it. It was great.
Yep. I still eventually parted it out.
It's only hard because I'm kind of short, so on my tippy toes. Okay, and now all the flour's in, and it's just barely sticky. And you can feel how elastic it's become, like a ball of rubber. Just take some of the olive oil. Spread it around the bowl. And then put a towel over it for like an hour.
Let's do that. Where do we get a
2.
towel? Ta-da.
Towel. There.
Just let it
We'll be
sleep
back
for a
in
while.
2 hours.
2 hours. So olive oil has gone into some tomatoes.
Red pepper flakes.
Red pepper flakes. Oh, red tomato.
Some bay leaf.
Very good.
Pepper.
Can we see your super pepper shaker? Mega grinder?
It grinds really fast.
Cool.
Some salt. Not a lot, because we're going to put cheese in this. And some umami powder, which is just mushroom powder.
Cool.
And that's just because we like it.
That's just a bonus because I like the flavor.
Mm-hmm. Some garlic powder.
Was that also in the tomato soup? Because it was delicious.
Yes. Lots of it was in the tomato soup.
Then I can vouch for it.
Oh, I'm going to grab a knife. Gonna put
Some garlic.
a big fat clove of garlic with the woody end cut off.
Mm-hmm.
And some basil. I'm gonna add a little water, and then that's just gonna go in the pressure cooker while the oven preheats. But this is just because we don't have any store-bought sauce or pre-made sauce, or it doesn't really take a lot.
Pressure cooker.
We usually use store-bought sauce.
Mm.
Or we use just like crushed tomatoes that I cooked on the stove with a little bit of butter.
Here's a waffle maker.
And then if you want to see the dough is now twice the size, but we're not going to touch it yet until everything's ready to go.
The yeast did its thing.
Mm-hmm. So while the sauce is being made and preheating the pizza, we don't need the pizza stone, but because I have it, we might as well use it.
Very useful in the
Yeah.
pizza making process.
I usually use a regular aluminum sheet pan.
Close it up, close it up.
And I'm heating the oven up to like the highest that the oven can possibly go, because a real pizza oven has fire and it's like 500 plus degrees.
Yeah.
This is 480.
Okay. That'll work.
Yeah.
Very nice. And so what do we get?
I'm gonna cook down the sauce. I was gonna beep. So I'm just gonna let this cook on high heat until it's more reduced. But it's looking good.
Okay.
It shouldn't take too long.
Neato.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll have pizza sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I like the sound of it.
I'm gonna add some tomato paste to this. Just a little. Just
Okay.
a dab.
And so the sauce is cooling down over there, so it'll stop reducing. Now we've got our bread.
And then we just want to touch it as little as possible. I'm gonna grab a knife. Cut it in half because this is for 2 pizzas. And then we're gonna transfer 1/2 onto a cutting board that has cornmeal on it. And the cornmeal is what makes it taste like that Peter Piper pizza. American pizza's got crunchy cornmeal bottoms. And the cornmeal's to keep it from sticking. And you just push it into a pizza shape, leaving a little bit of an edge for the crust with your fingers. And it's already oily, so you don't need to add flour or anything.
Alright, so we've shredded some mozzarella from a big brick that we had. There's a lot lower moisture mozzarella than we're used to working with, but it's going to taste fine when it's melted. The sauce is doing well, and the pizza has a little crust so it can hold in all the good stuff. Bring in our ladle.
You want only a little sauce because it'll make the pizza melt if there's too much.
Be a big soggy paper.
Mm-hmm. So it's good to put just a little bit at a time. Okay.
And the cheese.
We're going to grab some mushrooms and pepperoni and put that on top.
Mm-hmm.
Cut that quick.
Alright, so pepperoni and mushroom time. Blackjack dealer of tastiness. Oh, oh. Oh yeah. There. And mushrooms. Oh, mushrooms. Some around. And then it comes into the juggling of trying to get it in the oven and onto the heated pizza stone.
Mm-hmm. Which would be easier if you had a pan, because then you could just build it on the pan and then put it in the oven. Pizza stone, not easier.
In a perfect world. But alas. Alright, so that fella's in there on the cooking stone in the oven. Get a little color on the crust and melt that mozzarella on top. See if we can get it to focus on the pie itself. No? Okay. Out. So we've got the browning on the cheese. We've got all the pepperonis underneath with the mushrooms.
Got a little lopsided because of the process of putting it on the stone, but if you
Yeah.
built it in the pan, it would stay the same shape.
That's what I was mentioning, the juggling. It's always a matter for us that trying to work with that hot stone and get it safely.
We don't have a
Transferred
pizza
over.
peel, which
Yeah.
is a tool that would be helpful, but would be unnecessary for 90% of our cooking. So I don't buy one.
We'll keep it practical.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll get some
It doesn't-
tasty, homey pizza.
It's rustic. Look
Yummy.
at that fluffy crust.
Yummy, yummy.
Oh yeah, it sounds really good too. The bread's really good.
Tasty. We got our Sophia Blanc de Blanc champagne.
How much did we pay for it?
Nothing. It was a bribe from. I found it. And now I'm gonna enjoy it. Hey!